campus. Now, in this beautiful session, I have to remind myself about the journey that we had undertaken while I was in Mandya campus and then have proceeded to come to Sathya Sai Lok Seva PU College, Mudanalli. Might I remind you that Swami's mission unfolded in the year 2011 itself. But the Gulbarga campuses, the Mandya campus, the Jaipura campus, and the several other campuses that Swami has brought forth started further on. I feel proud to say that I'm from the first batch of the Mandya campus. Having undertaken education in these value-based free mode has only taken my efforts towards understanding what the purpose of education is, what Swami is actually directing all of us towards in a more concrete manner only after I came to Sathya Sai Lok Seva PU College, Mudanalli. Amongst us today, one of the speakers, Dr. Satish Babu Anna, who we reverentially and lovingly refer to as Bab Anna, is also an alumnus of Sri Sathya Sai Lok Seva institutions. A brief introduction about dearest Dr. Satish Babu Anna. Dr. Satish Babu Anna is one of the leading endocrinologists in Bengaluru. He has done his medical degree from Vijayanagar Institute of Medical Sciences and MD in General Medicine from Bengaluru Medical College, Bangalore. Following this, he has worked in world-renowned hospitals like Cambridge University Hospital, Cambridge, King's College Hospital, London, and Guy's and St. Thomas Hospital, London. His endocrine fellowship was from these reputed institutions. He was also a consultant endocrinologist at Cardiff University, Cardiff, UK, before moving back to Bengaluru. He currently heads the Department of Endocrinology at BGS Global Hospital, Bengaluru, along with being a visiting consultant at Sparsh Hospitals, Cloud9 Hospitals, and so on. He, along with like-minded specialists, have formed a consultation clinic named as the White Lotus Healthcare Center in JP Nagar, Bangalore. In addition to handling all these major responsibilities, dearest Anna's contribution to Swami's mission is immense. Swami has selected Anna to be the trustee of Sri Sathya Sai Saraswati Education Trust, the Sai Sure program, and of the Each One Educate One Foundation, the flagship event of all of us alumni, and more importantly, the chairman of One Nation Foundation. Dr. Satish Babu Anna, who we fondly refer to as Babanna, is a pillar of support for all of us youth, the recent pass outs. We look upon to Anna for all support and encouragement in all activities that One Nation Youth undertakes. There was this one occasion very recently that Anna was having a conversation with all of us, and we suggested that Anna, why don't you share with us a certain set of experience that you've had. So he said, oh, ask a question, I'll probably answer it in the form of an experience. And then he said, we asked him, this specific question was, how do we balance our individual responsibilities that we undertake in our journey in the society and at the same time ensure we take Swami's mission forward? And Anna's reply, as always, very beautifully was, trust Swami and his words. Do not hesitate ever in relying on his words and taking steps towards him. He will help you and he will guide you. And went on to share his experience was, I'll share what his experience was, where he had to prioritize Swami's work only to realize Swami had already completed Babanna's work. Babanna, with this small introduction, may I humbly request you to take over the session and guide us. Sairam.
Should I start? Sorry,
Yes, Anna.
my
Yes,
connection
We can hear you,
network disconnect.
though your voice is breaking a little
Should
bit.
I start? Okay, let's, yeah, offering my humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of. Thank you all for joining this evening for this satsang. The title is Journey with Sai. I would humbly offer that each one of you are in the same voyage, in the same journey, and I will be very pleased to share my experiences today. So it all started with a very innocent and what to call my granddad in 1968 uh, sort of said to my dad, my father, that ಮಾತಾಡೋ ದೇವ್ರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಗೋರಿಬಿದ್ನೂರಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, you go and see him. So Swami was supposed to come to, you know, Goribidnur is a small town near Chikballapur, towards the western part of Chikballapur. So it's in Karnataka state, but it's next to Indupur. So Swami was supposed to come to Goribidnur, and he said, my granddad said, Matado Devru. See his innocence and see his, at the same time, the profoundness of that statement. So that episode has lingered or has connected to Swami from then onwards. Later on, my father Narayanappa was very close to Murthy Anna, Narsumurthy, and other Mudanelli school members, started going with them to Puttaparthi multiple times, and that's how the bond increased. And Swami kept on blessing each and every time when our family went. And in fact, one episode when Purnachandra Auditorium was being built, Murtyana and my dad were following Swami when he visited the construction site. And you all know, previously Puttaparthi, the ashram area was Chitravati sand part. So it was riverbed sand which was occupied in all the places. And when Swami was walking, as soon as he lifted his right leg, right foot, my dad could see a coin, one rupee or whatever the coin. He picked it up and put it into his pocket and showed later to Murtyana, and that coin is kept in our prayer room. And we come from a very meager family of farmers, and since then Swami has looked after in economical sense or prosperity sense as well. And why I want to narrate this is, we owned a car, being from a meager family. We bought a car in 1977 by Swami's blessings. And Swami, in fact, when Swami came to Mudanelli in 1978 for the first time, Swami wanted to go around the campus, including to the farm, the dairy, foothill. Those places had a very narrow, not proper roads. Swami took or my dad drove Swami in the Fiat car, white Fiat car at that point, and that's how our blessings continued. And in 1981, February 20th, when we all went to Puttaparthi as a family, Swami gave us an interview. I still remember, it was a Friday, and Swami narrated each and every aspect of our lives, including a lot of sensitive things. between my dad and mother, whatever the sensitive things were there, in front of children, he narrated those things. And of course, when he turned to my side, he said, get up. And I was coming up to his stomach height. My ear was pressing to his stomach, and he started rubbing my head and said, Babu will become doctor. He will be mine. I will look after your family through and through. So, and in fact, I was in 7th standard then, and for high school, I wanted to join Puttaparthi school for 8th standard. Swami said, no, you shouldn't join Puttaparthi. You should continue. You should join Mudanelli, because in that case you can become doctor. And in fact, 86 I joined, 1986 I finished my PU +2 and joined medical in government medical college. 85 Karnataka state government brought a rule that government seats will be only for domicile of Karnataka. So if I had studied in a Puttaparthi, I would have not been a local sort of a domicile student, and I would have been considered out of state, and I would have not got the government seat. So that way, this 1981 February 20th, Swami said that you shouldn't study in Puttaparthi, and that's how he has picked up or planned and looked after our family, and that continued, and I completed my medical, and I joined MD medicine in Bangalore Medical College in 1994, and the same year, August 15th, Swami came to Mudanelli to inaugurate Premdeep, and on that day, it was Vinod, my brother's wedding day. Swami called our family. We all went from wedding, and he asked me, what are you doing? And I said, I'm doing MD medicine, Swami. That's when he said, I will send you to London, and you should do your higher studies. And I was a bit not that keen to go out of country. And as you all know, Swami in his convocation speech for students has always discouraged students from going out of country, going out of motherland. But his blessings took me to London, took me to UK in 1998. And in fact, in 98 birthday time, he blessed me to go to London again. And I completed my MRCP, was a consultant endocrinologist in Cardiff University Hospital. And in 2007, after 10 years of my job or whatever stint in UK, he said 2007 time is up, and kept on each of his lap. By then, you all know, Swami was giving darshan on a chair. So he kept on either side of his thighs, and called hospital staff, administrators to appoint me as a visiting consultant for both Whitefield and Puttaparthi Hospital. And 2008, I returned back on his command. And in fact, most of you all know, especially devotees, students, alumni, everyone wanted to be very close to Swami. And in fact, when I was coming back to UK, Suresh might also gone through the same phase. Many people, many of the doctors who were in UK, or who wanted to go to UK, or who were settled in UK, started calling me. They all have a wish to come back, but again, the plans and priorities are different. And they asked, what is your reason to go back? And many a times non-devotees have given other reasons, but deep in my heart, the prayer was, at least this was in 2008. So Swami was 82, 83 at that point. My desire or my prayer was to live physically close to Swami. So that brought, or that made me to come back and take a big decision. So having come back, I started getting involved with Mudanelli, being a Mudanelli and Alike alumni, started getting involved with alumni activities, children for Satyasai activities were very vigorously happening in a big way. And in 2009, you all know Swami came to put Mudanelli physically to do the Bhumi Puja for the Chancellor's bungalow. And at that point, I was again blessed to be very close to Swami. Swami took rose from my hand, and in fact, I was very on the hilltop where the Bhumi Puja happened. And Swami, first thing after doing Bhumi Puja, what he did was asked Narsamurthy to show the boundary of the campus. And he in fact asked, "En ekralundi, how much is our land?" So Murthy said it's about 120 acres and showed the boundary. So he had that planning or a master plan to see that, and like anybody in 2011 when Swami left the mortal coil, everyone was shocked, and so I was, and that was sort of shattered my life, and even the planning, whatever we all did in whatever way, physical or worldly level, and keeping Puttaparthi, Swami has sent, all that got disrupted. And fortunately, because of alumni activities what were going on, I could sort of take solace in that activity, and that went on, and that became sort of contribution or a prayer or deep in the heart. This is my association with Swami, even though physically he is not there. So that continued, and within 2-3 months, means on Guru Purnima Day, July 2011, I heard from Sri Narsamurthy sir that Swami is communicating again, and Swami is back in in subtle form, and the dream rekindled or re-enlightened us and brought back that energy. And from then onwards, all the communications, whatever the mission activities, I also started slowly getting involved. And what, if you ask me at early stage, what brought me and my family back to subtle form, one or two, many incidents are there. One incident what I want to narrate is my brother Vinod also gets dreams, and in fact in 2007 or 8, 2007 time, when I had come to Mudanelli, when I had come back to India, we were looking for a land for Swami's project, Rural Shores. You know, Rural Shores, there is a village rural outsource, not outsource, call center based to give employment to rural young children. So that call center, there was a proposal to start in Mudanelli, and that point when they were looking for land, Vinod narrated that Swami wants to build 2 VIP blocks in the same spot, which are Sri Indulal Shahji's house and Dr. Ram Shetty's house. This is in 2008. He showed the same spot, and in fact, he said in the dream, Swami mentioned, even Vinod asked, who will build? Your father-in-law, Babu's father-in-law will build the flats. So this happened. Murthy was there, Govind Reddy sir was there, and few other staff, a few other teachers were there. This was told by Vinod in 2008, and early part of subtle form in the subtle mission, this happened, and multiple though such events which Swami had sort of given a vision in Vinod's dream started happening initial parts on initial days only, and that gave the more confidence or more. We all went through that phase of analyzing, and I also went through, but fortunately by Swami's grace, it remained very short, and quickly we grasped that this is Swami, and there was all the characters, all the traits of what Swami had done in Puttaparthi. That made us to understand and be with the subtle form, or with Swami's mission in this phase as well. So from 2011 mid time onwards, I started getting involved, and Gulbarga school Bhumi Puja in November, Sanjeevani Bhumi Puja in November, and Mandya 2012 Shivratri day, the Bhumi Puja. All this we went to see the land. There was direct involvement of Swami, although through messages. And these things were very mysterious, very mystic, but we deep in the heart we knew this is none other than Swami, and it was so exciting if we keep other things aside and of course have that faith and surrender. This was none other than Swami. That message was clear. That was vivid, but yeah. But Swami had his own plans and his own ways of doing things. So parallelly, Jaipura campus, Bijapur campus, all this started happening until 2014. It was through message, and in fact 2013 Swami commanded me and Murthyana to go to UK to see his devotees, and in fact the message was in 2012 January itself. 2012 January, I'll repeat, when the construction, 2011 November Bhumi Puja for Gulbarga school happened. 2012 January Swami started planning for Mandya campus, and the initial days itself he said, my UK devotees will build Mandya campus. And he said, Babu was in UK, London, take him and go to UK. So we went first in 2013. That's how Anugram Trust was born, and it's all reality now. And you all know how big the Mandya campus is, also now equally like any other school campus. So all this was happening, and fortunately, Swami gave multiple opportunities to be part of this thick and thin, and suddenly in 2014, Swami decided that he will be public in subtle form. 2014 January, for around Sankranti time, for sports meet, Swami wanted to come and inaugurate and see the sports meet. And obviously for Swami to come, Swami wished or willed to have a car, and the discussions were happening. I overheard, and I'll tell you, I overheard. Nobody pointed out or even suggested that Swami needs a car and can you arrange it. So thought came, let me buy a car, give it to Swami. Swami will use for inaugurating Sankranti, sports meet, and it gets blessed, and I will use it later on. This thought came, and I offered, and in fact bought, and directly drove from showroom to Mudenelli. I didn't even take it to my house. So Swami liked the car, and 2 days later, after the sports meet, at around, I still remember, 12:30 time, it was, I think, Wednesday or Thursday, I was in my consultation room, And Murthyana called and said, so Swami liked the car very much. He was so happy that you offered him for the sports meet. But Swami wants to keep the car, and he has given. Of course, the options were very tricky, and as usual, Swami's witty test to a devotee, to his alumni student, was put in front of me. He gave an option of one of the devotees buying from me the car and giving it to Swami as a permanent offer to Swami, because I wanted to take it back after Swami blessed, after Swami using it as a blessed car. Second option was to buy a new car if I wanted this car to be taken back. Same car which I should facilitate. So I said I will pray and come back to you, sir, and kept the phone. Immediately I thought through that what an opportunity it is, and first thing I realized or Swami gave that thought is, if Swami wants now a car, for practical purposes it might be 24 hours or 2 days. There will be 100 devotees who will be able to offer a car for Swami, and here am I sitting with options of trying to play with God's will. And the next moment I called my wife Archana to see or to seek our consent, guidance, whatever you want to call. And immediately she said, I'm not exaggerating, and this clicked, or this is Swami's will, and this is only Swami can do this, and we are so grateful to Swami. Immediately she said, don't be a hypocrite. This is the word she said. You want to give and take it back. And next words she said was, how does it matter if the car is in Satyasai Grama or in Sai Namana? Our house was Sai Namana. So these were the words she said. And immediately I called back to Murthyana saying that we have decided that this car we are not going to take it back. We will be more than or we are blessed to offer it to Swami. Murthyana said, I will not convey, you only write a letter and convey to Swami. I wrote 3 small prescription pad letter. I still remember, hospital prescription pad letter, and said we want to offer this. So why I want to bring this is, that's how Swami puts his devotee or his chosen one to test, so that he doesn't want to lose them. That's his love, that's his compassion, and whatever the worldly nature of that gesture. Here, car is a gesture. Car is a sort of a reason. That became a reason for extra bond for a human being to be with the Almighty. And from then onwards, the family and Swami's bonding has ever become more stronger, and we know how we love, how we have changed, how our family longs for Swami's love and opportunities, compassion. So this apart, I mean, at the same time, 2004 was a sort of a very important milestone year in the second phase. From then onwards, if you look back, Sai's mission in this phase, in subtle form, and later on under Sadguru Madhusudan Sai's sort of divine benevolence and blessings, Swami's mission has taken off in big way. In big way, there is at this single point, if you ask me, from say each year 3 to 4, 5 campuses, new campuses were added every year from 2014. And each educational campus, you know how much hardship goes into, how much efforts goes into, and they are all built in a remote villages, and starting from identifying, procuring land to basic infrastructure to world class Swami standards buildings. So, and of course, teaching teachers, staff, all this has to be put in place. And Gulbarga School, university campus, it has become university campus, started in 2010. Now we are in 2021, to 2011 to 2021. There are 25 to 26 such campuses at various stages of construction, various stages of being built and taken to that standards. So you can imagine the size and the level of work going on. Parallelly, there are Sanjeevani hospitals doing wonderful work. Almost 15,000 surgeries, even at COVID time, 1,500 surgeries, elective surgeries, not emergency surgeries. All over the world, elective surgeries have been put forth to later date because of COVID. Here, elective surgeries are still happening, and 1,500 of them have happened during COVID times. Annapurna program, again, you'll hear from Anand directly. At the same time, each one educate one program started, that is in 2014. Swami gave this benevolent opportunity for alumni to come back and participate in his divine mission, and that's how you have all heard. He said that this is a small stream now, and it will become a biggest river. That big this program, that big this foundation will grow into, and we are in that process. And now from somewhere around 200, 250 children being supported, we have moved to almost more than 2,000 children, and continue to grow. Parallelly, university has happened, and parallelly, so many social along with social activities, educational activities, youth training programs, youth enlightenment programs. So all this, who else can do other than Swami? Nutrition program, Divine Mother and Child Health program. Again, I was so blessed to be part of that Divine Mother and program, and Sai Shur. Let me tell you, Sai Shur has become such a important and a milestone in nutritional aspect of state policy now, that the task force, the task force for COVID, for the third wave, under the leadership of Dr. Devi Shetty, has recommended the second recommendation on their 9 or 10 recommendations what they are giving to government of Karnataka is to implement Sai Shur. They have mentioned Sai Shur as a nutritional support to all the children, because malnutrition affects the immune system, and immune dysfunction leads to COVID infection being affected with more complications and more morbidity and mortality. So that scientific and that organized way things are happening at Swami's with Swami's grace. So coming back, all these educational institutes, each one educate one program. You're all so graciously being part of it. I always remember that Tyagaraja Kirtana, Sri Tyagaraja Kirtana, Endaro Mahanubhavalu, Andariki Vandanalu. So each one of you, wherever you are shouldering Swami's responsibility or Swami's participating in Swami's mission in whatever little way we can push a bit more to make it go to what extent Swami want it to go up to. And mind you, Swami is, or any avatar for that matter, does things which is pertinent. And of course he has to, because he is all pervading and all knowing what is needed for that time and place. So if you look at education is such an important aspect in modern world, and most of these children are from rural background, and even in COVID times, Swami is always looking at how to get children's education to level what both Paravidya and Aparavidya and higher education, to make them not only economically sound, spiritually, and be a better human beings, serve the society, and at the same time, if you Swami graciously has converted or ordained Sarala Memorial Hospital, which was sort of a multi-speciality general hospital, to a COVID care center. Initially, 150 beds have been converted to oxygen beds, which will be inaugurated shortly. So all this are happening as a divine love and compassion, and we are so grateful to Swami to give this for providing me this opportunity. And in summary, I want to offer or say in most humble way that my life, if you ask me the title as it goes, Journey with Swami, like anyone's, you all have a similar journey with Sai, is a sort of a typical example. I come from a rural background, a village congenitally nearby to Mudenelli, studied in Swami school, became an alumni, and whatever he willed to be as a doctor, as an endocrinologist, and his grace and his message of serving back to society through Swami's organization or Swami's school, Swami's activities, is what we all have to imbibe in our life. This is what my offer or my prayer to all of you. Whatever way, let us push bit more. We all plan our lives. We all plan our profession. We all plan our financial aspects. Let's shoulder Swami's Sai's mission, Swami's work also in that planning to higher extent, greater extent, push a bit more to be more supportive, and that's what the life is all about. Swami having spent all his life on investing on his students and his devotees. If we don't give back now, what a great loss, what a loss to this life and time. So that's my prayer, and with that, with that prayer, I just conclude with this prayer to Swami, that I want to live a life according to His will, so that I attain fulfillment. This should be each one of our goal and life. With this, I will take a leave. Sai Ram, and thank you for joining and listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. These were indeed words of guidance, words of wisdom, words filled with love, and more so, words filled with gratitude. There is so much to learn from what you have just said to us. And I think the highlight of everything is that, the concept of giving back is what is, integrally imbibed in all of us Sai students. So our humble gratitude to you, Dr. Satish Babu Anna, for taking time out of your schedule and addressing all of us. Sai Ramana. Sai Ram. Dr. Satish Babu Anna has truly been an inspiration since the day One Nation Youth has begun. In fact, Swami, when we initially conceptualized One Nation, it was Swami's vision that the youth have to collate together to contribute back to society, highlighting what we, indeed learned during our visit and stay at Mudanhalli. Uh, Under the guidance of Dr. Satish Babu Anna, and his chairmanship, Swami initiated this One Nation Youth, which primarily stands for unity, equality, and individual transformation. So, in the coming Sunday, the next Sunday, during the same period, One Nation Youth, under the leadership of Dr. Satish Babu Anna and the entire team, is organizing this blood donation drive at Harmaki Coffee Company, which is at Malleshwaram itself. Uh, we humbly request all the alumni and the alumni, whoever is eligible for donation, to kindly drop in and do your bit towards contributing back to society in the form of this blood donation drive. Thank you. Sai Ram. In the meanwhile, there is another inspirational figure amongst all of us. Our humble regards to dearest Anandanna. Our vivid memory of Anandanna dates back to the time when I was spending in Mandya, where he had once visited and addressed all of us and guided all of us. The amount of enthusiasm dearest Anna had carried within himself was very infectious and very positively infectious. And we looked up to him only to decide amongst ourselves when we were in the 12th grade, in the second PUC format, that we also have to go back outside. We also have to contribute back to the society like the way Anandanna has initiated. Let us also initiate something. Let us also join together and do something. So the next speaker for today's satsang is Anand Kadli Anna. A brief introduction about Anand Anna. Anand Anna is currently the secretary of Sri Satyasai Annapurna Trust. Anand Kadli oversees the growth and expansion of the flagship Annapurna breakfast program that serves free daily morning nutrition to over 5 lakh needy school children attending 6,000 plus mostly rural schools across 17 states and 3 union territories of India. Anandanna spent over 15 years in the corporate world before leaving it to pursue his life's passion of community service on a full-time basis. Anand had previously worked in global organizations including Hewlett Packard, HCL, and Dimension Data in the field of computer networking and security. Anand Kadli Anna is also a certified independent director. He is a Bal Vikas student and has participated in community service as a Seva Dal member right from his schooling days in Vishakhapatnam. Seva has given him opportunity to work with many other elders, brothers, and sisters. Anandanna is grateful to Swami for giving an opportunity to take up these Seva activities. Along with his friends, under the direct guidance of Sri Sadguru Madhusudana Sai, Annapurna Breakfast Seva was started in 2012, reaching out to the needy children who come to school hungry. These efforts have resulted in increased retention and student enrollments at schools, rise in academic performance, and improved health profile among rural school children. Anand Kadli Anna holds a bachelor's degree in engineering from Geetam in Vizag and an MBA from ICFAI University, Hyderabad. He lives with his wife and his 2 young school-going children at Mudanahalli, Annapurna's headquarters located close to Bengaluru. Anandanna, a vivid memory of having worked with you was during the National Teachers Conference in the year 2018. We had over 1,200 teachers from across the length and breadth of the country attending the event. We were lucky to have Anna leading the event, and the entire team was supporting in the execution. The efforts that Anna took to ensure that the smallest of detail was attended to, and by ensuring that there was no compromise in the quality of Swami's principles, his vision for the event, and at the end of the day, his message. One integral thing that I was reminded of just a few hours back was when there were a certain set of teachers who were returning back to their locations at the railway station, and I had the opportunity, I had the good fortune of dropping them back as a volunteer from Satisai Grama Mudanalli to Chikkapalapur railway station. And as they were just commencing their journey towards the railway station, and I was just helping them get their luggage out. In the end, all they could say was they folded their hands, they looked at me, and they said, in Telugu, they said, మీలో సత్యసాయి బాబా కనపడుస్తారు, మీ చేస్తా ఉన్న పనిలో సత్యసాయి బాబా కనపడుస్తారు. And I said, sir, we are very grateful to all these things. No, I'm telling you truly, in your work that you people do, we can only see Satya Sai Baba. We can only see his work, his, in Premamrutam, they put that mission, they've put that quote, love all, serve all. And that is all evident in you. And to ensure that these words came out of those individual teachers, the efforts of Anandanna are immense. Anandanna, handing over this beautiful session to you. Sairam.
Sairam Anandanna, you are on mute.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rajat, for giving an opportunity to share a few of the details about the COVID relief activities which have been done in the last 2 months odd. Just to give you a precursor to this, I think we have been getting multiple messages since March and April, especially from Singapore and UK and US. They were asking, what kind of work are we doing, considering the current pandemic, which is becoming even more higher, cases are increasing, and I keep getting every day these messages. And I have always learned one single lesson personally from my end. Not that Swami knows it. Swami definitely knows the current state of affairs, being inside ashram, and also, if required, getting the Swami's guidance. But I just waited for, in fact, we all waited for Swami's message, one single message. What should we do? So we haven't heard from Swami for the first week, second week, and the third week. And then we were thinking maybe things are not in a good shape to go out, at least because pandemic is in the rise, and we also need to be secure inside the ashram. So considering all these points, we waited. Of course, the wait was good for us. It's really an important wait for us so that we can take the stock of the things and take up the next steps. So in this course of thing, what happened, Swami actually wanted us to know about what has been our previous work, what all we have done. So incidentally, we sent a message to him. These are the 1 lakh beneficiaries who have been provided dry ration, PPE kits, gloves, etc. This was last year. This was not even this year. So then what are you doing for the school children? Or, this thought, Swami got it in the month of March itself. What are you doing for school children? So we told Swami, we are not doing anything because schools are not operating. So anything for the cooks? No, Swami, we have not yet started. So then Swami said, wait, I'll tell you. And then it so happened, I think just in the month of May first week, Swami told that now you can start doing some projects for the patients. And I think there's a need for oxygen concentrators all across various locations. And it's become the most important thing, it's the life for everybody, and people are asking for oxygen concentrators. So, in our own ways, we try to gather, support from Arogya Vahini Trust, Asha Jyoti Foundation, one other foundation in US, and Dell Foundation, and we started speaking with them, and we managed to get about 50 oxygen concentrators, and we started dispersing them to various locations across Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, etc. So these are locations where we didn't have any connect. We don't know the patients, who are the patients, to whom are we giving this. All we know is there is a requirement over there, and late night we get calls, and we are trying to find out how to get these oxygen concentrators. Sadly, we were not able to even get the 10 liters oxygen concentrators, which is the must for the critical cases. But Swami's grace, we were able to get 8 liters ones, 10 liters ones. So we started sending them to Kolkata, and majority of it went to Karnataka and other parts. I was actually in touch with the Babu Anna also. I was asking Babu Anna, should we do something, can you please guide us what needs to be done? So in fact, he also said, Anand, wait for some time. This is not the right time for us to take any activity on the field. So May first week, we started this project. Of course, the dry ration project started. So these are the pictures of oxygen concentrators which are delivered to the Arogya Vahini Trust. And this is the very interesting project because this is something to do with the COVID patients. Now, all of you know that, we've been told not to go outside, and, the next thing which has come to us is we need to go to COVID care centers. So it's very kind of encouraging. At the same time, also, you got to have that fearlessness to go and do something out of the order. And then, we had our team, and I just had a call with them, and I said, see, look, this is what we need to do. We need to go to 6 COVID centers in Chikballapur. Of course, the team, absolutely fantastic team we have. They said, if Swami's guidance is that, so let's go ahead and do it. So the first and foremost thing which we did is we got ourselves vaccinated. All the people who are going outside, first they got vaccinated. Some of them got a single dose, some of them got double dose. And then, it was the first time we were wearing PPE kits. Some of the pictures which are shared, where we are wearing this PPE kits and going, it's very challenging. You can't wear for more than 1 hour. And then for all through the 6-7 hours we were wearing, and then we ensured that the COVID patients in Chikballapur got the dry fruits, biscuits, fruit juices, all these various items. And even procurement of these items was a challenge. It wasn't so easy. So we had to procure from Bangalore during the early morning hours, pack it. And at the end of the week, every week, we have to get at least minimum 3,000 packs of this. And we were able to, successfully launch it. Swami's grace, it was done on May 6th, Ishwarama Day. And Swami also spoke to the district SP, and he assured that, whatever is needed from our end, we will do it. Even the hospital project was also discussed with him. He was very enthused. In fact, he said, we have never seen something of this sort coming at this time, coming out and doing something for the patients. And this started. And from that time onwards, we have been sharing messages to all of you that this dry fruits has been a part of our work. And we've been continuing to do this on a daily basis. And you could see some of the pictures where this was in Mandya, and some of them are in Telangana, Prashanti Niketanam. In some cases, we ourselves had to go and give the dry fruits. You can see some of the pictures like that. And at the same time, sign-offs are also needed. Once we deliver it, we need to ensure there's a process followed, and the local health officer also signs off, and it has been given to the patients. The important part is, what is interesting is looking at the way we did it in Chikballapur. Immediately, Visakhapatnam group has picked up, and they wanted to do a similar thing, and they parallelly started doing this activity in Visakhapatnam, and also the same way even in Telangana also. So this is very interesting to see. These are some slides which I'm showing. We have a facility in our website where there's a chat box where you can put in your query. You can actually ask us if you have anything or if you want any help. And this website has become like a call center for us. A lot of requests have come. I've just kept only 7 or 8 of them. You can see over here, hi, is there any food supply for COVID patients? They're given the location. The patient, the person who's asking is a doctor, Dr. Meghna. Her name is Meghna. She's from Siddipet, or she's not from Siddipet, she's from Hyderabad. And she's saying, is there anything where you can provide, food for my children and my grandmother who is stuck in Siddipet? Now, in Siddipet, there is no Swiggy, there is no Zomato, there's nothing available over there. And, she, out of the order, she just pinged up, and I asked, where did you get my number? I went to your website and I just typed over there. Immediately, we responded back. We spoke to Siddipet campus, and we provided food for all the family members over there. And it was such a blessing for her, even though she's well placed, she's very much in a very good, decent position, but still there was nobody who can help at that time. And this is only Swami who can actually do such things for us. There's another picture of this where, the cyclone which happened in Kolkata, people send these pictures telling that this is the state of affairs. Fish have died. There's nothing for us to, even have. Is there any way can you actually help us? So immediately we called up Subhajit brother and Arogya Vahini Trust and started asking him to see if we can do something over here. And one more request has come for food. Can you get some help for food and all? And this is a child, just imagine a child who is 10 years old. He's actually sent a message to me, please help me, sir. And this boy is kind of, I asked him from where you're calling from. He said, sir, I'm calling from Sidlagatta in Chikbalapur. And he used internet. He went to that WhatsApp option, which we have in our website. He typed in over there and he said his father is a physically challenged person. Can you help us? So this is how, if you're able to respond back to a very nurturing mind of a youth, you can definitely make a difference. And we said, yes, we will do it. And then, they gave us a bank account details, somehow we cannot go outside also. We transferred some money and that's how we closed certain things. Google Pay, it's an easier way to do a transfer. But that was a genuine case. We have to understand a child who is asking, definitely it will be a genuine case. And one other case where can we get some more food, multiple requests. Can you see over here, these are those requests like this. I'm in Tumkur, I need help. And he wants bed sheets, it seems. He said, sir, I need 2 bed sheets. And, I've used my money for, doing all the patient care, etc. So very small requirements, but somewhere they feel there is somebody who is there to respond back. And on the same way, on the right side, you find again food requirements. Many of them are food requirements. And unfortunately, we could not address some of them because we don't have volunteers over there, especially, in Tamil Nadu, we got requests, but we couldn't find a way to get those things done. But wherever it is possible in Bangalore, we did all those requests. We became the Swiggies and Zomatos for them, and we ensure that we provide the food. I think a similar thing is actually being done in Hyderabad also with the Hyderabad group. They are doing it. In fact, one of our trust member, Kusumji, was also trying to ensure that she provides a support for many of the patients who are not getting COVID beds. And she set up a call center and she ensured that anybody calling, they will get some response and they'll identify somebody who can respond to give a COVID bed hospital. That was a very challenging thing to get a hospital where we can get a COVID bed was also not possible. And we had to hear some very disappointing news. But again, we have to only pray for them because we could not help them. We were helpless on that part. The next part, which is slightly going to the next step, when we understood that we were able to execute it in a very organized manner, the COVID patients, dry fruits. So then we understood that, we are maybe able to do something more. And during that May 2nd or 3rd week, when the lockdown was still continuing, there was a request which has come from Adami Chetana to provide food for the COVID warriors. So immediately Swami asked us to work on it. So quickly we planned it out and we sent our volunteers and employee staff members. Just to tell you today, just about half an hour back, it has come in India today also, not to specify or glorify it, but just to tell the good work always finds its way to actually get presented to a larger audience. And so this we continued for the next 2 weeks. In fact, today is the last day of our, the operations for the COVID meals for the, COVID warriors. And these are some pictures of how our people are kind of, dressed and organized to ensure that we follow the contactless process and also ensure COVID norms are followed before the food is sent to the COVID warriors. Very interestingly, all the 3 requests which we have got, at least the first, second, and third request which we got, this is something, because the requests have come from various people. This 4th request directly came from the government. DC of Tumkur called up and he said, sir, I understand that you are doing this work. Can you help providing ASHA workers some of the dry ration? Because he says these people actually go to the isolated centers. They go to the places where the COVID patients are and they're testing them. So they are in even more much danger. Going to a hospital is different, but they're going to rural places and testing the patient with the oximeter and trying to see what is the state of the patient is even more dangerous. So we understood that and we quickly acted upon it and we provided the basic pulses which are required. And this was a very welcome activity. The DC who was there, he called up the local MP and, they all congratulated and they called up even our Tumkur campus, Satyanarayan sir, to be a part of a small meeting and distribution. Then the next important project, which was the core of the entire thing which we did till now, step by step, Swami was taking us to the larger projects. So which I'm sure which Satish Babu Anna has mentioned that the current project is about SciSure. And then Swami actually sent a message to us late in the evening at about 8 o'clock that come out with a plan. We have to start something for the children, understanding that there is a sort of assumption that a 3rd wave might even come. So quickly I called up Babu Anna, we called up some of the doctor staff and we asked them, what is that which we can give for the children to ensure that they are secure? and many people gave various options like immunity boosters, vitamin and zinc tablets, etc., along with SciSure. And then we presented it back to Swami, and you might have seen on the day when we wanted to launch this program, the highest officials of the district, the deputy commissioner, the SP, the CEO, all of them landed in Mudanali. They were in Premdeep seeking Swami's blessings and also conveying the gratitude for taking up this wonderful and such a large activity. In fact, the DC was actually absolutely surprised when we were told we are willing to support the entire 2 lakh children. And it was like a welcome thing for her, because she has never seen any other district getting this kind of facility. Other districts, they have to still look out for CSR organizations, foundations who can come forward to do it. But here we are already going there and telling this is what is our plan and we want to do it. In fact, I understand that after this initiation, only the meeting happened within their own teams, what to do for the COVID pandemic if it affects the children. So it was like a push from Swami itself to do like this, and only Swami can do something like that. Idea which has come before itself, and we ensure that this idea, we get a plan and show it to them, and they come forward with a plan how to execute it. So in the course of it, what they have done is every hospital, wherever they have this COVID care centers, they are now initiating ICUs for children also. So pediatric ICUs are now planned for emergencies, just to ensure that they are taken care during the pandemic, if at all it happens. So luckily nothing, Swami's grace, children are safe over here, but still these are all precautionary measures being taken. There are videos which have been circulated about Swami's message on that part. This is the kind of a messaging which we gave on the SciSure distribution. And it all started on June 4th, where we gave the first 4,000 SciSure jars to the children. And we also came with a plan as to how we will, kind of move this in the next 3 to 4 months, targeting 10 lakh children. And these are the various options which we gave to them. We came with a proper plan as to what are the various options which we can give. In fact, the same thing was even discussed, which Babarna mentioned in the meeting which they had in Bangalore. And SciSure was one of the need which they felt should be also executed. This is one slide. Basically, this is the list of all the MAM children who are currently in Karnataka. Almost 5 lakh children are there. This is just to understand the dynamics of the division of the children and where we have to focus more. There are many children in Bellary. There are many children in Koppal, where the numbers are 33,000, 40,000, huge numbers of children who are kind of malnourished. So it's a huge opportunity for us to see how we can work towards it. Again, step by step, we'll pray to Swami and see. As of now, we started with Chikbalapur. These are the requests. Now, these are request letters. Earlier, we were like kind of, I still remember many people ask me, it's very tough to get officials to our, Mudanali ashram and tell them out what we do. Earlier, that was the time where, 2017, 18, 19, kind of, we had to struggle to get a meeting appointment. And today, they are all kind of sending letters to us. Here is a request from Chikbalapur, Tumkur, Bellary, Koppal, Bangalore. I have request letters, and they're saying we need SciSure for the MAM children and if possible for the entire district. So again, coming back, these are request letters which we have come, and we are taking step by step. We are getting SciSure produced in a large numbers. We have already given order for almost 70,000 children. Hopefully, once we have it next week, we'll start doing the distribution part. So, I mean, we had a small launch, and this is the distribution done by DC herself in the Avalgurki school. And there were children who came, the Anganwadi children who came over there along with the MAM children. We gave SciSure for toddlers and SciSure for preschool for all this, esteemed gathering. So some of these pictures are more to do with the distribution, where we gave it to the government officials at their offices, and they were amazed. They were absolutely amazed. They are getting these jars absolutely free. Looking at the packing itself, it is really understandable that half a kg of this, and the retail price is almost 500 to 600 rupees. And then you get this, bottles to your doorstep. And here we are coming, Sairam, and we are telling this is an offering from Swami. It's like we are all messengers, trying to be messengers of what we have understood from Swami as a seva, and we started conveying it to them. Yes, this is the last project which is kind of working right now. But the history to this project is, sometime back last year, December, we had a very interesting proposal coming from one of the foundations which is in US. And this proposal, we actually made it for last year, June. We sent a proposal to them. We asked for emergency requests for the midday meal cooks, etc. for last year, June. But somehow, it did not carry forward, and, they were just kind of taking time because, norms and also at the same time protocols, governance, everything needs to be looked into it. So finally, they have actually approved our project this year, January. And they said, we have approving your project for January. Then we actually said, we will kind of work on it, but right now the pandemic has calmed down, or rather it has slowed down. So we were trying to see, how to execute this program. And then come March, again, the pandemic started. And then, now we have understood that this whole exercise of trying to get the dry ration, everything was planned 1 year back only. Okay, so it's just that, the right timing has to come in. And this is even more tough times we are going through compared to the first, pandemic. And this company, this organization came forward and they have actually asked us to come out with a plan for giving midday meal dry ration for almost 15,000 cooks. And we have started doing with them. And we have almost come with a plan, and we distributed for the first 5,000 is already completed. Pictures are going everywhere. Chikbalapur we covered Tumkur, we covered Telangana, we covered Andhra. And this is one slide which I'm very kind of happy to share, because this is one team which comes forward to take things forward. When the times are challenging, the tough people always exist. Like this team was always there. They're armed with all the safeties and going out and distributing the dry ration to them, following the COVID norms, again maintaining a database. It is not an easy job. It took a lot of time for all of them to come with a plan and do it. And every day we get to see these pictures. Today at least I get 100 photographs coming every day to my WhatsApp, and these are the details which I get about the distribution which is happening at various locations. So these are some of the pictures in Tumkur, and the distribution which has happened over there with the local officials also being present. We took the help of Ramakrishna Ashram, and they were actually really supportive to whatever work we are doing, because we don't have our presence over there in a big way. So we took their help, and they came forward to help us to do the distribution. And coming forward, carrying forward from the whatever it is we are doing in Karnataka, we also need to tell there's a similar activity happening in Tamil Nadu. Volunteers over there in 30 districts, they all came forward to do the distribution in those locations also. Of course, it's all dry ration distribution to all these people. And to COVID patients, it's the food which has been provided to the escorts who come along with the patient. There's a slide about the dry ration for the, not dry ration, this is actually food. You can see over there, it's very clearly mentioned in Telugu, avasaramunna variki bhojanam. It's a very nicely made phrase. Whoever wants, come and pick up your food. So every day they come with the food packets, and it is just kept in the table. People come and pick up whatever food items. And hats off to the Vizag team. They really made a wonderful activity by conducting it on a daily basis. Finally, this is one thing which I'm kind of very happy to share. Our own campuses, girls' campus, Prashanti Niketanam, in their own, there is no male support over here. Please understand, there's only completely female warriors who actually took forward and prepared food, morning breakfast, lunch, dinner. Our own students, if somebody is asking, what are your students doing? Our students are actually packing like this and sending it to hospitals. Siddibet Hospital over there. This has been doing round the clock, just to get up at 5 o'clock, start the do, until evening 9 o'clock, they're packing and sending it. And this is going to all the COVID warriors and the patients over there. So very interesting, sight to see how these people are really coming forward to help us get this done. And finally, this is a slide about a request which has come for SciSure to be provided for children in Uttarakhand. And we actually distributed SciSure for them also. And one last slide, which is predominantly focused on the admission of children who are orphaned. That's the sad part of it. Parents passed away, and the children who have been orphaned. This is again Swami's idea, and he said that let's come out with a plan, and we will take those children into our institutions if they are kind of adjusting to our norms and regulations. Otherwise, we will at least give them a scholarship of 20,000 rupees for the children where they are. So this is being handled by Prashanti Bal Mandira Trust, and this is handled by Govind Reddy sir and team. And they come back with a plan. They're coming out with a plan as to, and there is also a form already there in the website, pbmt.org. You can go and see the form where you can fill in the details of the child, and they get admitted or whatever support is required. These are the upcoming projects. Dry fruit ration for almost 10,000 midday meal cooks in the next 2 months' time. And then we have the larger part, which is the SciSure distribution for almost 10 lakh children, exploring options of trying to see where all we can do this. So this is in a nutshell about the COVID activities which have been done. I thought, because given an opportunity, let me share the current activity being done so that, maybe we can take some questions from a few of the members over here, and also ideas, what all ideas we can even execute if it is possible from our end. So thank you, Rajat, for giving an opportunity to share this. Thank you.
Saram, while the efforts of all the volunteers and the initiatives that Sri Sathya Sai Annapurna Trust has undertaken is only making this world a better place to live in for everybody. So hearty greetings, hearty Sairam on behalf of everybody gathered here today for all the efforts that Sri Sathya Sai Annapurna Trust is taking towards the society. While our former speaker, Dr. Satish Babu Anna, is a reflection of Swami's quote, head in the forest, hands in the society, the efforts that have culminated into these activities that Sri Sathya Sai Annapurna Trust has undertaken is mere reflection of Swami's quote again, that Manava Seva is Madhav Seva. Hearty Sairams to both the speakers. While the forum is now open for all the attendees to kindly share their questions, if there are any, there is one question particularly to Dr. Satish Babu Anna, that the question is, Satish Babu Anna, this question is very simple, like, it was asked previously also. How does one have the ability to manage the responsibility of his or her individual career, at the same time contribute to Swami's mission? So how do we find a balance between these two things?
Right. I will probably answer that in two aspects. One is physically. Physical part I will come later on. First part is very straightforward, and that's a better answer. So I'll take that as first answer. This question, if you had asked me around 5 years, 8 years, 10 years back, I would have given only the second answer. Now I'm more matured, or I've gone through what you all are facing, so only your that question is. So I can reflect myself in last 5-6 years and give an answer. The answer will be, as you do your daily chorus, you delete unwanted things, you get ample time. That's what my life has been. That's exactly is what we all are attempting to do, and that leads to probably the fulfillment and what Swami wants us to be. More physically or worldly level, if I want to answer that question, yes, you have a time management skills which each one of us probably have to look into, and probably prioritize, and have a strict diary, whatever ways each one have developed their own skills to do that. That's a sort of a physical answer. Hope I'm correct in. Thank you, Rajat. That's my answer. You prioritize your work to do Swami's work, good work. Automatically, the lesser important or worldly time, wastage of time and wastage of your energy resources, which is very precious, will be narrow down, and you will start spending your time and energy in quality that is more I mean, even from spiritual point, service point, and once And one step ahead, if you surrender completely, obviously you will take over. And few times that experience also, I'll be honest, I've experienced, but that should become probably always, not few times.
Taking this further, thank you very much, Bhavana. Taking this further, there was another question raised. To all the attendees here today, the forum is open. You can share your questions on the chat box, and I will be taking them up individually. The one question that came up was, Sairam, thank you for this session. My question is, I have been a part of Swami's mission for a few years now, but gradually we are taking this opportunity lightly instead of increasing our focus towards the mission. Some of us have made our lives a bit fixed. How can we be continuous in our inspiration and motivation towards Swami and the mission? So this is one question that is specific. Anna.
Sorry, Anand, you want
Oh, you want me to answer it, Anna? I thought you were.
No, you go. I did one.
I would, see, making our own experience as a story for all of us. We come from the IT background, and we've been kind of always thinking about looking at how we can build and get more and more wealth and prosper. But Swami actually came in 2011, and he changed the whole perspective. He gave a complete 180-degree shift. And when we started coming over here, there are two lines which always ponder into my mind since 2016, and that is Atmana Mokshardham Jagat Hitaya. So we didn't understand what is this whole concept of Atmana Mokshardham Jagat Hitaya. First of all, our Sanskrit is even more worse. We can't even make it out what does it mean. Slowly we have understood that Jagat Hitaya is definitely something which Swami has given us opportunities to come forward and do it, but is more interested on the first sentence, which is Atmana Mokshardham. So, Swami even today also says these projects which are there, for everybody to come join, it's like the rivers coming from various directions and all are actually getting kind of culminating at the ocean. They're all there. Every project is available. And it doesn't mean that, you have to be a part of this Swami's projects alone, thinking that this will only give us that whatever satisfaction, whatever we do, in fact, whatever discussion we are having over here, after this discussion, if you're talking to your colleague or a neighbor or whatever is it, if you have that feeling that this is done by Swami, or Swami is making me as an instrument to do this, could be even giving some love to some children over there, thinking in a different perspective. It doesn't need to be that you need to be part of large activities. In fact, that is something, we all think and we wanted to jump in. Very simple, like, today, if we are talking to Baba now, I'm talking to any of the people, speak to them lovingly, don't get into any agitation, don't get into some sort of anger, it will not help us. Definitely it will not help us. And if we are doing this, that is more than enough. I feel that, if any of these large projects, many of the people are not been able to participate, it's not like that. You can always come and join activities, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that you need to only go this way. Every second, every time you are participating at your home, at any other workplace, if you're able to spread the love and talk to them, everybody lovingly, that's enough. That's what I feel as an answer which can be given.
So I have a question, Anand brother and Satish and both. So you will have scenarios wherein Swami has entrusted with you, some important assignment, and there was some, naturally, like any other task, some bottlenecks, some challenges happen. And how do you feel inside, and probably how would you overcome? Like you will feel so obliged. My God, Swami gave me this task, and I'm not able to do this, or something. There's some bottleneck which I'm not able to address. How do you then go about, or how do you deal with that kind of even spiritually or emotionally, or how do you deal with that?
Yeah, quite natural. We also go through that phase, and multiple times. At that point of time, yes, as you rightly pointed out, we also feel helpless and miserable, actually. But somehow, your devotion, your dedication will overcome. Will overcome that feeling. overcome that sort of a low
Saram Satishan, I think we are having some internet issues. I think we lost you for like last 40 seconds.
Thoughts, and it will be very transient. I'm telling you honestly, my experience, those will be very short duration, and this is only Swami. And if you ask me, really, this is quite natural. If am I audible? Can I speak, or am I audible?
Yes, brother. Now
Hello?
you're audible. Yeah. Please carry on, Anna.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what I was saying is it's quite natural, and because Swami's works and Swami's vision is mammoth, and always there will be huge challenges and huge hurdles, and I also go through that helplessness, and what to do next, and how to go back with the answer of no will shatter us. But having said that, if you ask me, my own experiences, this will be very transient. Those feelings are very transient. Somehow your Swami gives that strength, and of course, if you surrender, and if you see from that perspective, Swami, once he has willed, and once that process has started, it's only you are an instrument. You are just a means doing that, and that automatically that initial phase of challenges slowly starts clearing, and things happen. This is what I honestly want to share, and that's how we all should take life as each moment. If we achieve that state of surrendering and doing all our actions as Swami's work, obviously things will clear, and you will do only good work, and those work, whatever you do, will get offered to him. But practically, you are absolutely right. We also face this many a times. I'm sure Anand will share his experience in a better way.
Yes, and I actually wanted to share 2 points over here. One is when Swami tells you need to do for 1 lakh children, that is a very large number. Today, very recently, he mentioned 10 lakh children. See, personally, it has been a training which has been given by Swami. For last 8 years, we have been seeing wonders happening. So after looking at so many wonders happening, now, if you feel that you are doing it, then you are mistaken. Okay, it is Swami who is doing it. So only thing is, be grateful that he has used you as an instrument to just percolate and communicate to others. It's not that because Swami is giving information to me, I have to take the responsibility. Now, that is another problem. Doership will come in out there. That is 1 point. Second point, Swami is very clearly, since last 6 months, has been telling is, you got to be absolutely stable. Now, why I'm saying this is pretty much every one of us get excited. Before doing the work, during the work, and after doing the work, there are 3 different phases we all go through. And I am also, definitely a good example. Before doing the work, thought process, planning, oh my God, this we need to do, get into some conference calls. During the program, excitement, and also at the same time, some sort of worry whether it will happen or not. After the program, either dejection or happiness, right? And then you go and give a big, large report to Swami, this we have done, Swami, and we always want to tell the good things out of it. We don't want to give the negative parts out of it. But Swami said that all these 9 years we have been working. I wanted to bring you to a state where at any point of time, before the work, during the work, after the work, you have to be steady. If you're having that stableness, so for example, let's say if Swami has told Babarna, Swami has told Babarna, now you have to work for 10 lakh per Aisha. Okay, Swami. Then he goes and he starts working with the government officials, comes back and gives a report to Swami. Swami says, very good. Okay, Swami. After that, he implements it. And after implementing it, Swami comes back and says, what is the report? Swami, this is the report. Very nice. Okay, Swami. Nothing else. For everything, if we are able to maintain that steadiness, absolute steadiness, and this, I'm kind of, not that I'm reached that level, we are trying to implement it. It's not so easy to, especially during the program. You leave aside the before the program and after the program. It's like when you're acting, even in this particular screen, when we are acting and conveying the message, during the program is very critical. But before the program, we will have all plans and we'll say, okay, Swami, please guide me, please help me tell the right words. And after the program, we will go back and again, thanks, Swami, thank you very much for giving opportunity. But during the program, what are you doing? Are you excited? Are you becoming super elated? Or are you getting dejected? You know, all these things really matter a lot. And that's why Swami has made us go through 9 years of karma yoga, whatever you speak about. And now he is making us go towards this, the idea of looking for ourselves inside. And once you become like that, naturally we can take large projects. I wouldn't say large project, any project, small project, big project. Tomorrow Swami might say one big water project. For that also, okay, Swami. If he says another 10 million children, okay, Swami, whatever you say, because you are the doer. We are only surrendering it to you. We are helpless, absolutely helpless. You are the doer. You have a plan and you is executed. Be grateful that he has chosen a set of people to take up this program. That's it.
I think that clarified a lot of doubts that all of us had in mind, especially for the youth of today. Especially if I take One Nation Youth itself as an example, well, the sense of doership kind of, it just erupts within all of us. At the same time, the essence of everything will probably culminate into doing some seva. But what Anandana just mentioned, just referring to Swami's Bhagavad Gita shloka, Karmanya Vadikaraste Mafaleshu Kadachana. I think what you have highlighted is should be set as a path for all of us youth to follow. So very grateful for these words from Anandana as well as from Dr. Satish Babu.
Rajat, we have just one more question. I think if this could be quickly answered, because this is more a technical detail one brother has raised. Considering the wide spectrum of services undertaken by Annapurna, how can layman contribute financially or otherwise to the whole program?
I think we also have to be technically oriented. Swami has always told Bhakti, Shakti, Yukti. You need to have the Bhakti, you need to have the Shakti, also the intelligence. The Yukti part also has to be brought into picture. So we understand that, various ways are there for people to support. It's just that we don't know. For example, look at that simple WhatsApp feature which we kept in our website. People are just typing on that and we are getting requests for support and we are doing it. So that is something which is we got to use our brains to see how we can use it. Now technology is everywhere, everybody wants to do some support. So looking at the work itself, I would like to immediately contribute. And, whatever is it, could be, contribution by party, taking part, or it could be even financial contribution. So we need to make things easy for them, just by, the good thought which has come. Mind is so fickle that, the second minute it will think something else. The good thought has come, we got to ensure that we give technology enabled solution to it. So which means, try to give Google Pays, try to give Phone Pays, whatever options are available. And this is not something which we are going and asking. We are not going and saying donate. We are not doing that. Neither in our website, any of our websites, any of our SAI website, we don't really promote contribute, donate. No. Nowhere we have this kind of, messages coming and popping, donate. No, definitely not. But somebody who's willing to do it, we should be able to provide them some source. And that's why, we have these various technologies. Now we use Razorpay, we use various options like international credits to be done, because this is for the donor's sake. We are not doing it for our sake, because for us, our sake is Swami, who is right behind us. He will ensure that whatever Lakshmi Devi has to come, he will definitely do it for us. It is just that we need to add to whatever can be added to the existing thing. That's it. So I feel technology is there. People want to support. They can go to websites, even website, Health and Education Trust website. Everything has the facility to support. I mean, financially, if you're talking, that is available.
Indeed, Anna. As we come to the final leg of today's Prema Pravam session, I would humbly take this opportunity on behalf of the organizers to thank both the speakers of today's session, Dr. Satish Babu Anna, as well as Anand Kadli Anna. Both speakers, your words of wisdom, your words of guidance has been extremely moving and inspiring to all the listeners, and for all those who listen to these sessions when it is put up on the websites as well as on YouTube. So on behalf of everybody, I humbly convey my gratitude to both the speakers for taking time out of your busy schedules and addressing all of us. Sairam to both Babu Anna and Sairam to Anand Anna.
Sairam to all. Sairam.
As we come to the conclusion of today's Prema Pravam session, I humbly request all the listeners, all the viewers to kindly join in a prayer for universal peace. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu.
Sukhino Bhavantu.
Samastaloka
Sukhino
Bhavantu.
Samasta
Shanti Shanti
Sairam.
Sairam, thank you for giving the opportunity. Sairam.